the Postmodern Art Podcast, a podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I'm your host, Nathan Ragland, and for today's episode, let's get on to a cracking conversation with two fantastic, talented artists that I know you're absolutely going to love. Today's guests are Bella Bernard and Leo Maeres, the dynamic duo leading the charge for the dynamic animation studio EggBug, developing cracking animation whether it's for their clients or for themselves with some fantastic art on full display. These two were presented to me by the incredible George Edwards, and honestly, I cannot tell you guys how talented I think these two are. I have been absolutely amazed, especially with their webcomic / animated series, CatBirdDog, and I just know just by their personality, their dynamic together, and the art that's going to be on full display in this episode, I know you guys are going to absolutely love it. If you enjoyed the guests that we have for today, please make sure you support them with the links down in the description below. If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. Leave 5 stars wherever you can. You know I see that stuff. You know it genuinely warms my heart. Speaking of that subscribe button, if you have not already, I highly recommend you hit that subscribe button because at the time that we are recording, we are less than 10 subs away from hitting our goal of 2,000 subs by the end of the year. If we hit that goal, I will get my first tattoo as designed and as decided by you, the community. So if you want to be a part of that decision, I highly recommend you subscribe today. And look, if you want to go a little further with that support, may I recommend you check out the merch shop at fourthwall.com with the link to that in the description below. We are currently having a extended Black Friday sale, so if you are interested in getting some of the incredible streetwear that is there, including the brand new logo merch or the return of the fantastic ugly Christmas sweaters, use code HOLIDAY24 to get a wonderful deal of 20% off your orders whenever you use it at checkout. So please check out that merch shop today. But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to do this, by the way. It's an absolute pleasure, especially see what you guys have been able to produce ever since George Edward really introduced me to your stuff.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
No, it's probably been... Whenabouts was it that we were introduced, actually? Because I'm wondering how much has come out since then of the stuff we've made.
Okay, let's see. Hold on, because I can look at the exact time that George, messaged me about y'all.
I think it was a few months ago almost. I think we were on the up and coming, but we weren't quite where we were now.
Yeah.
He messaged me about you guys around late July, early August. That's when it was
oh my god.
Yeah. And so the amount of stuff that has come out since then to where we are right now, this has been a while in the making.
Absolutely. I think it's because I bumped into him at Adam Inspo in Bristol, and we got on quite well. And he then messaged me and he was like, "My friend would like to podcast you." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that sounds like a great opportunity. We haven't had an opportunity like this yet." So thank you for that as well.
I am honored to be the first. I mean, to be fair, with the following you guys have been able to amass, I'm surprised more people haven't come to you and be like, "Hi, you're interesting. I want to know more about y'all."
We're just little nobodies so far.
I think it hasn't quite set in yet how many people are know about us in the slightest.
I will say over 100,000 people say that you're not nobodies. I'll tell you that much.
It's a crazy amount. I can't even fathom that amount. I can maybe picture the number 10, but 100,000, I'm not sure.
Look,
I get up to 100. That's where it stops for me. Just completely no one else after that.
I can't even fathom that. For context, the YouTube channel doesn't even have 2,000 subscribers. So you guys are leaps and bounds ahead of me by far when it comes to just the Instagram platform and such. So yeah.
You got time. It's paid adverts, I promise.
I'm sure I'll get there at some point. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I'm currently trying to push people to like, hey, subscribe to the podcast. If I get 2,000 subs, I'm going to get my first tattoo as designed and decided by the community. So like,
oh, that's cool.
So hopefully
that's pretty cool.
I'll say hopefully it's cool, and hopefully my community is nice enough to not give me something weird, like, you know, some weird, like, obviously I'm gonna have like the parameters of like, obviously nothing racist, nothing, you know, horrible or anything like that.
I was gonna say, yeah,
because this is the internet still.
Yeah, no, it's like if you let people go wild, they will. Like, you have to be very strict with the parameters you set for any competition.
It's just like
I'm just go insane.
It's like nothing racist, nothing homophobic, nothing, you know, anti-Semitic or whatnot. No face tattoos. Like, you know, we're keeping, you know.
Yeah.
But it'll certainly be interesting. Throughout the podcast, I'm going to be addressing you guys by your first names, more or less, or whatnot. I figured Bella, what I do is for the podcast, I'll start off with like a little icebreaker question, and then I'll get like a little intro for you guys. And for the intro, Bella, I'm assuming your name is pronounced Bella Bernard, or Bernard. And Leo, how do you pronounce your last name?
Maeres.
Maeres, okay.
Maeres, yes. It's not Maeres, as our other people in the company seem to pronounce it sometimes, but it's Maeres.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like, to the untrained eye, it looks like something that comes from, like, Spanish country or whatnot. So, like,
Yeah, no, absolutely. All the time. To me, it's funny because I see it, I'm like, that's surely people will get it, but it clearly is not the case because so many people mispronounce it. So maybe I am just biased, actually.
But regardless, Leo Maeres, correct? Okay.
Maeres.
Yeah.
Maeres. Don't worry too much. If you get it wrong, it's completely fine. Do not worry about it.
Well, I'll put it like this. It wouldn't be the first time I butchered someone's name horrendously on this podcast. I'll go ahead and say this. I am recording this little sound check area, you know, pre-recording thing right here. Can I include this as part of the podcast itself leading in, like just to ease things up or whatnot?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Nice thumbs up as well.
I'll say I appreciate the thumbs up.
I know. I can also.
It's going to happen so much.
Oh, whoa! I have never seen that before.
I didn't make it do that, but it's just my MacBook. It also does this. I like to show this off all the time.
Like I knew about the thumbs up thing, the thumbs up thing or whatnot, but I didn't know about the other ones. I'm like, whoa, that is insane.
There's loads. There's loads of those
as well. Yeah.
I think it's that. Maybe it's balloons or something.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh.
I'm actually a magician. That was real life. That happened.
Snazzy, aren't you? Yeah. Imagine like jazz hands, you get like a spotlight or something like that.
I wish. A little top hat and a cane. That'd be amazing.
That'd be wonderful. All right, Leo, Bella, before we really get going, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast, if I may. Let's say you both get to go to a desert island on your own accord. It's just you alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe, get to really enjoy yourselves for a little bit. With accommodations, it's not a desert island. It's like a little personal B&B paradise away from society for a little bit. A little vacation island. Different than the island you guys are currently stranded on, but that's a different story.
We are stranded there, it's true.
To help make sure you guys don't go completely insane on this island with your own thoughts and such, you can bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help with whatever kind of headspace you want on this island. If given this opportunity, what would that one piece be?
Crazy.
I feel like I've answered, or I've thought of this question so many times, and the answer has changed so many times. I might bring the entire manga box set of Berserk. That would be my choice.
Oh, that's a very interesting choice right off the bat, considering how unique of a series Berserk is, to put it mildly.
Yeah, it is probably one of my favorite things. It's funny because it's probably the most different it could be from like CatBirdDog of the webcomic for as much as you could be. But it's I really like it. Yeah, is all I have to say about it.
Yeah, considering how you guys more or less like promote yourselves when it comes to EggBug compared to Berserk, that's like day and night, really, more than anything else.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting answer. Bella, how about yourself? What would you bring to your little personal B&B paradise away from society?
See, mine would be almost the complete opposite, because don't judge me, but I think it would be My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Like the entire, if I could get the YouTube channel that posts all of them, I think it would be that. But don't tell anyone, because I'll lose my street cred.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
When it comes to this podcast, everyone that's listening, don't tell anyone that Bella
Don't tell
loves My Little
anyone.
Pony.
This is a secret.
The secret's out now. That's crazy.
I am curious on why is that the go-to answer for you? Why is that the thing that, like, you know, you want to bring to this little place?
I think it's a real comfort show for me. Like a real comfort. I don't know. I consume a lot of different media, and there's very few things that I rewatch over and over again. But with My Little Pony, I've watched it consistently over the past few years, but not rewatched it, and I'm on the final episode. So maybe in this moment of bliss on the island, I will finally pluck up the courage to finish it.
Plug out the courage to finish
That'd be an
and
intense
rewatch
moment.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's funny because even though like it is very different, that's a similar reason for Berserk for me, where it's like it is comforting, even though it's extremely like the tone is really violent and awful, and everything that happens is terrible. But you also have these really nice, somber, like character-led moments where it feels like, despite all this awful stuff is happening, there's a real humanity to it. And I think if in that way it's weirdly comforting, even though it's the stuff happening it is absolutely not comfortable at all.
That, you know, I can understand, especially like the odd comfort in finding the violent stuff really, you know, almost like humbling you in a way, or
yeah.
It's really, but again, both really unique, both very night and day when it comes to responses or whatnot. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of surprised when I heard the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, because ironically enough, I just interviewed someone yesterday, and by the time this episode comes out, it'll probably be the next week's episode. But I interviewed a YouTuber by name of Gator Goat Johnny, who devotes himself to like making like My Little Pony content or whatnot. So it's like, you know, sneak peek for the people that are watching for next week's episode. You know, if you love My Little Pony, watch that episode. You'll get a lot more My Little Pony stuff to talk about.
Absolutely.
But regardless, the entirety of Berserk and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Those are your guys' answers. You're locking that in.
That's a really funny two to give, actually. That's great. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, for sure. Send us there now. I'm ready.
It's like it's like ordering like a birthday cake with a black coffee on the side or whatnot, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly it. Yeah, very bitter flavor and a very. But it's funny because I've watched now because of Bella. Because I've gone down to Bristol to work on things there, and whilst being there, a tradition which has formed is that we'll watch episodes of My Little Pony, and it's good. Like, honestly, people are mean about that show online. Sometimes it's good. Defend it to the death.
It's so
at this point.
good.
Yeah.
It is. There's some episodes not as good. Majority really good.
I mean,
in my opinion.
Trust me, I give respect to that show. I'm not dissing on the show. I'm just saying it's funny the dichotomy that you guys have with your answers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, completely. 100% agree.
With that, I cannot think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You would look fantastic in the merch that we have at the merch shop, fourthwall.com. Link to that is in the description below. And follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and most social media platforms at Postmod Art Pod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guests. They are two of the members of a dynamic animation studio developing cracking animation, whether it's helping others achieve their vision or bringing their own characters to life, such as CatBirdDog. Welcome to the podcast, Bella Bernard and Leo Maeres. Of EggBug!
It's EggBug, yippee!
It's us, yay!
Even though I asked 20 million times, I still butchered that last name.
I would make the same mistake a million times as well. Don't worry, it's so fair.
Yep, it's what he deserves.
I at least...
I'll get you.
How are you both doing today?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm doing well.
Good. I'm glad
Doing fantastic.
I'm glad to hear you're doing well despite me butchering your name. No, I'm joking. I'll drop it.
Despite the heinous crimes that
How
have been
dare
committed to
I?
you today.
You would think with all the research that I do on you guys, seeing the incredible animations and illustrations that you guys have put out forward, you'd think I would do a better job memorizing how to pronounce your name to the T, or to the E in this case. No, but thank you guys sincerely for taking time to be here. It has been wonderful to really get to immerse myself in your guys' stuff since our good friend George Edwards really introduced me to what you guys are doing, and I cannot wait to discuss about all that you guys are, accomplishing with EggBug. But before we discuss what you guys are doing nowadays, I want to go back just a little bit and learn more or less the origin story of specifically Bella and Leo, independently. What got you?
Oh God, I feel like. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
No, you say your piece.
I was just gonna say I feel like we've retold it and changed the telling of it so many times at this point.
Well, I'll say at the very least, I'll at least ask it like this: how did you guys get interested into art and animation separately in the first place?
I started getting into art and animation when I was a wee lad, about 13-ish, where I started drawing. I think the thing that actually started me. I don't know if I've even said this to you, Belle, before, but it was drawing fan art of Percy Jackson characters, which was for some reason what got me into it. And then after that, it was just watching a lot of anime and drawing things that I liked, which is I think a very, very stereotypical pipeline for like internet artists to go into, is like watching cartoons and anime and then being like, I could do this, I think. And then watching Newgrounds cartoons a lot and getting into those, and that's also a very important part, I think, in probably the person I am today. It's weirdly.
I mean, honestly, very valid. I mean, first off, Percy Jackson, that's essentially just anime for Americans at that point.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just, it's book anime, 100%. That's why I liked it. I was like, oh my God, they're fighting and there's drama. That's all anime as well.
It's like, kids realizing that they have powers that they could never imagine, learning to hone in on those skills while also defeating a greater evil that, I mean, that's just essentially it. I mean,
it was, for me, it was like Bleach, but in a book. That's how I liked it.
Well, I imagine, was Bleach one of those first animes that got you interested? Like, what were some of the first animes that really like immersed you in that world?
It literally was. It was Naruto, Bleach, and I think weirdly Cardcaptor Sakura, were the three. But I really liked those, and then I just watched an ungodly amount of anime in general in my like mid-teens, to the point where it's like I now can like recite plots of really, really bad anime that I don't really want the memories of in my brain, because it's like who wants to hear the plot of the anime where Sherlock Holmes is actually an anime girl and it's just stupid.
Yeah, or who wants to go through the ever painstakingly details of school days,
Oh my God, yeah. I think I actually didn't finish that one because I found it so bad. I was like, this is actually too far, funnily enough. But I did start it.
I never watched it. I just watched other people reviewing it. I'm like, yeah, I got my fill from that. And I also got to ask this right off the bat, you also mentioned Newgrounds artists. What were some of those Newground artists that you remember like absorbing in the first place?
It would have been, back when they were known as this Egoraptor. Yeah. They might still go by, I'm not sure, but Egoraptor, when he was doing the Awesome series, but also specifically Girl Chan in Paradise was the series that I remember watching and being like, I think if I just like practice drawing enough, I could make something like this, and that's crazy, and it's so good. And that's weirdly one of the things that got me into animation as well.
That is really interesting to hear. Now, Bella, how about your turn? What got you interested into art and animation in the first place?
So both of my parents were artists, but then when they had me, they kind of had to give it up. My dad became an engineer, my mom became a teacher, which is kind of like a common thing. So then they focused all of the lost art years on me. So I was raised as an artist. And I was always really interested in cartoons. I was just always drawn to that, always loved animations, probably the VHSs of like Disney as a child.
There you go.
And then when I got to 13, that's when Minecraft YouTubers and My Little Pony and Hatsune Miku entered my life, and it turned into this big DeviantArt Tumblr obsession where that was all I was drawing every single day. And then I got to college and realized that I could do animation as a job.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And then it went from there. But yeah, I do thank Minecraft YouTubers and My Little Pony for where I am today. So.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just gonna say this out of context. Other people might have opinions on those two subjects and what exactly it led
100%.
to. But I'm glad it had a positive influence on you more than anything else.
It did, yeah. I mean, to be fair to myself, I was a like I would say it started at 11-year-old girl.
Yeah, exactly.
I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I just saw a colorful horse and a square man, and I was like, this is great. Now I'm older, I'm a bit could have chosen a better hyperfixation. I don't know if anime is that much better, but
I mean, at least people got more or less paid directly with that. I would anticipate, or at least there was probably more fleshed out stories, more time processing than whatever happened in whatever Let's Play was happening. But this is not the place for a battlefield between the two. Okay.
We don't need to put two queens against each other.
There you go.
Minecraft YouTubers and anime.
Yeah.
I
think they add about. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm not going to say that. But yeah.
I think anime came out on top. To be fair,
yeah, I think anime. There are some there is some pretty good anime stuff if you look for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I gotta ask though. You mentioned the Disney VHSs or whatnot, which trust me took me back to my young kid phase as well or whatnot. What were some of those early VHSs that you remember just basically watching over and over again?
I was Lion King 2 and Oliver and Company. For some reason, I don't actually remember anything about Lion King 1, but Lion King 2 was everything to me, and Robin Hood as well. All of those kind of things.
To be fair, Robin Hood for me as well. Robin Hood I rewatched so much specifically. I'm surprised I didn't end up a furry. That is the kind of
Aren't we all?
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, aren't we all?
I mean, to be fair, you are animating furry characters, so I think
Yeah, no, exactly.
Maybe that's where
they clearly at least a bit, yeah.
I mean, you guys got. I mean, maybe a little chip came off the block, and that's where the furry energy went into. But
Yeah, no, exactly.
No, I was gonna say it's very interesting that with those who they named in particular, but honestly, extremely valid ones. Because first off, Lion King 2 had no reason to be as good as it was. It was anytime you hear direct to VHS or direct to sequels or whatnot, they're never anticipated to be great. But that was theater worthy. That's how good that one was.
It was so good. The song where they're kicking Kovu out, the Deception Disgrace song, that is just peak cinema in my opinion.
Deception!
So good. Exactly. I was going to sing it, but I'm glad you did.
I had to, because it was just in my head. I had to get it out of there,
Absolutely.
That whole time.
Don't hold it in. Let it out. This is a podcast. Be free! And I also wanted to say whenever you mentioned that it was whenever you got into college that you more or less realized that animation could be a thing or whatnot, or at least that you could work in the animation field or whatnot. I can relate to that very similarly because I went to college for filmmaking, TV. Or the specific major that my college had was called mass media, so it was TV, film, audio, all that jazz or whatnot. But I didn't realize until I got to college and was part of a group called the Film and Video Society that I realized, oh wait, I can actually be in filmmaking. I can actually make films and such. I thought you just kind of had to know the right people and boom, you're in the film industry, which isn't wrong. You still got to kind of know the certain people to get those opportunities. But what was more or less the tipping point for you for more or less realizing, oh wait, I can actually be an animator? Was it a particular class, a particular club or something like that?
Yeah, it was so in college in the UK, you either have the chance to do A-levels or you can do what's kind of a BTEC, but also a foundation diploma. And I did a foundation diploma in art and design. Okay. And there was this one segment of the course that was about animation. And everyone was complaining and they were like, I don't want to be an animator. I don't really care about this. But I immediately fell in love because my way of drawing has always been producing the most amount of drawings in the shortest amount of time, which for animation is great. And my final project was I think it was a 6-person walk cycle where they all walk into the middle, and I had this whole backstory of like witches and wizards, and it was all self-inserts of my friends in college.
wow.
And that was my first animation, and that's when I decided to go to university to study it. I don't know why I decided on walk cycles. I don't think anyone told me that how difficult they were.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, that's honestly a good thing to like master in the first place or whatnot, because like walking is a basic thing for a lot of people, but especially like you said, like, you know, 6 different walking styles for like different self inserts of one form or fashion or whatnot mean together, and like that's a really interesting animation. I wish I knew where I could find that, because I'd love to see like how that turned out more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I think the original is actually on my personal Instagram at Bug Draws, and I did a reanimation of it, I think 2 years ago,
Okay.
and it was just as hard as the first time, but maybe in like a couple years time I'll do a reanimation of it.
Oh, there you go. Now, normally I'd ask, you know, when did it go from just like a love to a passion, then a career, but I feel like it's more important to ask this question first and then go with the next step. Obviously, you guys, did you guys know each other in college? How did you two and the entirety of EggBug Studio, or EggBug in general, first meet up in the first place?
Well, it really depends who you ask, because there's different retellings of this story, I think.
Okay.
If you ask me,
if you ask Bella.
I saw Leo in uni, and I just got a feeling. You know, when you meet someone, you just get a vibe, and you're like, I just want to be friends with this person. Leo had other ideas. I'm joking, but
I was in my own little world at that point, having my own little narrative arc, which was apparently Bella free, I think.
It was, yeah. We didn't really meet up until after university through a friend of ours, Sam, where he was working with Leo, and I effectively stole Leo. I didn't steal Leo, but I started working with Leo. But in uni, we met, but not that often.
Okay.
Yeah, it was funny because I think I remember the times we met, and I always thought like, oh yeah, they're a really cool person. I'd love to work with them. But I think unfortunately, I was too set on making my own film and being like, no, it's got to be the perfect. I'm making this film and it's going to be just mine, and I'm going to make and you know, I actually have deep regrets about that. Not in regards to not working with Bella, but not listening to people's advice a little more. But yeah, it worked out. We ended up working together in the end, and we just kind of realized that a lot of our, I guess, strengths and weaknesses kind of complement each other, especially when it comes to animation.
Okay.
So it makes it like working on projects very both fast, but also we can do pretty, I would like to say, good quality work on them.
I mean, trust me, I will say, when it comes to the work you guys have been able to produce, it is very high quality. We will definitely be talking about that at some point. I just wanted to at least hear, because I heard the university, I feel like, okay, we need to at least figure out how they first met first, and then we could go to other topics. But I at least wanted to know, like, obviously that love and inspiration for art is kind of, you know, it was there and always has been there. When did for you guys go from like a general love and appreciation to a passion and knowing you wanted it to be like your career? Like Bella, I assume it was that class that we were talking about, but you know, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Leo, I don't know if you have a different story or whatnot, when it became more or less like just like something that you love and consume to like wanting to go forth and be an animator and have that be your life.
Do you want to ask first, or should I? I don't mind, but.
I know. I think you go first. Yeah, because mine's just an extension of that. So you go first.
That's fab. I think, funnily enough, going to uni definitely helped that a lot. I think I was always like, I want to do something creative. I love drawing, but for me, it's a lot more about just the act of creating something in general, I think, which is why I've ended up, I think overall, I'm more of a jack of all trades, all rounder when it comes to like my roles in certain bits of EggBug, because I've just learned a lot of different bits about different things because I enjoy working in lots of different things when I get the chance. But I think going to uni and just kind of like meeting lots of other creative people and seeing that like there was an avenue to make stuff that you could like earn a living off eventually. And it made me think like, well, no matter what, I just want to make something. I want to make things and get paid for it, and that's kind of it. And I think I've been that way for a while, but I think uni really like catalyzed that and made it feel like it was something I could actually do.
Okay.
I think part of the reason I just went to uni originally was just to make friends, though, to be honest. So it's like 50-50, you know?
I mean, especially working in like fields like this, you kind of have to know a person or two. It wouldn't hurt at the very least.
No. I mean, that is thing I will say to people think about going to uni. It's like one of the best things about it that it is hard to get that exact experience, although you definitely could, is the networking. Not even specifically with like people in the industry, because you have to go to like a pretty good, I'd say, like a really like a top end university like a Cal Arts or a Gobelins or whatever, to get like really good connections through university. But the network of artists that you meet and like the kind of semi-competitive environment is one of the most valuable things about it, that really kind of helps you focus in on your craft, which is useful.
There you go. Honestly, that's extremely valuable. I mean, again, as someone that went to school for filmmaking, I can absolutely agree with that. Comes that kind of stuff. Like, not only like the school itself. My school wasn't a high end school. It was a place in basically South Georgia, southeast United States. So it wasn't like a Hollywood or a New York or anything like that. But I still made some really good connections, not only with my university, but also like going to film festivals and such, seeing other things being screened and what other people are able to produce. So yeah, if nothing else, like, for those that are considering the uni experience, if nothing else, like, the connections does not hurt at the end of the day. Even with how wide and diverse and how easy it is to connect to people these days on the internet, that sometimes that in person to person one does not hurt.
Yeah. Being in a physical space is really valuable. And even if you're not going to uni, I would say that it's like one of the most important things when you're like developing, especially, is to just find people who you can do art stuff with. Because it really, and it kind of applies to anything creative as well, pretty much, where it's like, it helps you broaden your perspective, obviously, but it motivates you a lot, which is really good.
Exactly. Exactly. And now, Bella, back to what we were talking about when it comes to, like, again, the moment that went from being like a love to a passion, wanting to make it your career. You said it was more or less the extension of that class that you took a part of?
Yeah, I would say so. I would also say that from a fairly young age, I was selling my art for money. And by money, I mean like DeviantArt points, where I would do commissions for people for 1 or 2 DeviantArt points, which I think is like, I think that's like 1 or 2 pence. I don't think that's anything. But from a very young age, I was trying to hustle using my art. And I think college was more of the catalyst for it becoming animation and going, it's going to be really hard, but I actually think I can do this. But I think I have my dad to thank for that, because my dad, I would draw something and I'd be like, "Oh, Dad, look at this, and put it on the fridge." And he'd be like, "Sell that for $5 immediately, and you'll be a millionaire when you're 30. And that's honestly, I think it was slightly stressful as a child, but I think now that I'm older, it's helped a lot. During uni, if I was reaching the end of my overdraft, I used to draw really trippy Simpsons paintings. Ooh. And I would sell them for like 40, 50 pounds. And then that would get me out of my overdraft and I'd be able to afford food for the week. So yeah, it's always been in me.
That, honestly, hey, if it pays the bills, it pays the bills.
Exactly.
At the core, you are a hustler at the end of the day. Yeah. That's your...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And yet you're the creative director, not the head of business or whatnot.
Oh, yeah, it's because I can't do numbers. Yeah. I only got a B.
Both of us are bad math brain. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they say stuff like CRM and MBC and ABC, 1, 2, 3. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I have no idea.
No, like, here's a drawing of Sonic the Hedgehog. How do you think
exactly.
That? It's like, yeah.
Here's a drawing of Sonic. How do we sell it?
Yeah, what do we do now? Yeah.
But me mentioning that, and obviously hearing the beginnings of EggBug at the very least, it leads me to wonder, when did the other members of EggBug start becoming into the fold, and how you guys like fully went forth and decided to make this thing a reality past just, hey, we're 4 buds, let's just make some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, EggBug started with just me and Leo. So he's the egg, I'm the bug from our Instagram, and Lev and Josh are the other 2 who joined slightly later, just a few months. But I've been friends with Lev and Josh I think going on like 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
And they kept saying that they wanted to get involved in the business. They wanted to do something which means that both us and them are fed. Lev is a project manager. Josh is just insane at numbers and finance, which as animators who both have ADHD, it was just a no-brainer to bring on these two other people who were willing to kind of work for free at the beginning.
Yeah, and that's another good bit of advice,
business.
actually, as well, is
Yeah.
like make friends with people in other disciplines. Like creative people have a tendency to make friends with more creative people, which is great because that's fantastic. But sometimes you do need someone to do the numbers, and at which point you need to turn to someone who is, who knows how to do numbers.
Right. It's like that. It's
yeah.
like art can only take you so far, but like you were talking about with the Trippy Simpson stuff. Sometimes you do gotta pay the bills. That's when
Yeah.
a business person
Yeah.
comes in and be like, "All right, these are all cool
Yeah.
ideas. Here's how I can imagine it's very simple. Like these are all cool ideas. How can we get this out to people who will be willing to spend money to see more of this stuff?"
It is exactly like that. I think it's when I was talking to them about how I do my taxes or did my taxes, and I would do them in like a Google Word document, and they were like, "No spreadsheets," and I was like, "What the hell is a spreadsheet? I don't use that."
I don't even know what that is. What word is that? That's crazy.
And that's when we realized it was a good idea to bring them on.
I think that the funniest part to me has been seeing them like just have meltdowns at the way we were organizing previous projects. I mean, like, what do you mean? Where are the files? And it's like, well, it's grabbed between two hard drive, a Google Drive, and like a Dropbox. It's like that's not helpful.
It's so bad.
Sometimes organization is key for an operation to work.
Apparently,
it is. It really is, and it's something that Bella and I both strive to get better at in our own ways. I think, but we're still not completely there yet. I'd love to say we were, but
look, I can easily say as someone that runs this thing on his own or whatnot, maybe a little organization wouldn't hurt. Because there are sometimes where I'm so scatterbrained. Hence why we've waited like 5-6 months to finally get this interview done.
It's like that.
It totally is like that. But I mean, regardless, like, the fact that you guys went forth and decided to make EggBug a thing in the first place is impressive regardless, like going forth and doing your own independent studio. What was ultimately like the catalyst for you guys to go forth and be like, we're cool creative people, we want to have opportunities out there in the animation. Let's just make our own opportunities. Like what ultimately led to the creation of EggBug?
I think it's just because we were working together anyway for so many things. Like there have just been so many projects where, like, I mean, for a long time we were all just both of us freelancing, and we kind of. I would for 2D projects, Bella would just be like, "Hey Leo, I need an extra pair of hands for this. Can you help out?" And I would be brought in, and eventually we just worked together with each other enough that we were like, "Okay, we know we work well together. We know this would be a good like permanent thing, so let's try it and make it a proper business." And I think that's unless I'm forgetting something, feel free to correct me, Bella. That was basically it. I think
that is it. I think it's so much it's like when you're splitting rent with someone, it's so much cheaper if there's two of you versus one, and it's so much better to collaborate. I work a lot better with collaborating. I think most people do. Yeah. So it seemed like a no-brainer. It was after we worked on, I think it was after Midnight of Isla, or during, it was like a music video that we worked on together. And I think we had such a good time working on that and realized that we filled each other's holes, that we realized that we should work together full time.
Which is exactly how we're choosing to phrase that.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you want to stick with that phrasing, but you know what? You do you, boo.
I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, we platonically fill each other's holes. Is the way that we phrase it.
All the time.
Exactly. Yeah, all the time.
Every day.
I think I'm probably gonna use that as my teaser clip right there. Just that phrasing. Oh goodness. I will say though, the video that you guys are talking about, the Midnight, how do you pronounce the last name? Isla or whatnot, or
Violet. He goes by Ryan Anderson now.
No, there you
go.
Yeah,
he changed his working name. Yeah.
Well, there. I was gonna say I remember seeing like the video, the animation that you guys did for that, which it looks absolutely stunning, especially kind of the way that the animation was, like the lighting and composition or whatnot. Like it was absolutely fantastic. I can only imagine like working on something like that for such a unique song as well. Must have been. It's cool to know that like something like that was ultimately like the catalyst for what you guys are doing now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Pretty much, it was a real like, it was really, really fun. It was a great time. I think it was one of the smoothest ones we've done actually. Even to this day, I think
Yeah.
it was up there because Ryan's such a lovely guy as well, and it was so great to work with. And we just, I think it took like, I think the animation itself took like 3 weeks. I feel like
Oh,
I
wow.
can't remember for
Yeah.
sure.
It was a real
It took,
push.
yeah, we were like, it was a push, but at the same time, it was not like it was not an unfun, if that makes sense. It wasn't like
Yeah.
one of those ones where you're like, oh my god, I'm about to die, I can't anymore. Because we split it up quite well, and I think Ryan was just such a good client when it comes to the like amendments and stuff that it was, yeah, it was pretty straightforward, all things considered.
I mean, that's really good to hear. Regardless, that it was a smooth process at the end of the day. Hearing how much that your clientele was satisfied with the results that you guys were presenting to them, to use fancy smashy terms. I mean, if nothing else, like it's good to know that like dealing with situations like that, having that kind of like early experience, early work freelancing or whatnot, more or less mentally prepared you for like, okay, if we want to actually like go forth and make this thing ourselves, we kind of have a rough idea how to go forth about it. Like I can only imagine how much freelance really prepared you guys for what you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's a lot of like kind of being scrappy with freelancing and kind of like making things work even when you have a tight budget or you have a tight
Oh my
timing or
God,
you're
yeah.
like, fuck, I booked in a whole week of work during a holiday. What have I done? Like that kind of thing. You learn to work
Yeah.
around it.
I,
God, yeah, there's been so many times like that where you are on holiday and you're like, wow, bye family, I've got to go
Yeah,
animate
there was a point
apparently.
where I went to visit my see my partner's family for the first time up in Scotland, and I was like there for a lot of things, but then at the end of the day, I'd be like, I'm just gonna go into like the other room in like complete darkness and draw for 4 hours. I'll see you tomorrow.
I can't
And
even
it's like,
remember what that was. Oh, yeah, no, I remember. Yeah.
yeah. No, but it does just like you, but that's why organization's so important. That's
Yeah.
why like if you just have artists running everything, it's like things are higgledy piggledy. But yeah. I mean, and some artists are, to be fair, like there are artists who are good at that. It's just we're not, so you know.
like you guys
Yeah.
emphasize ADHD. That's why you have the business person be like, organization, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really cool.
100%.
It's really cool to know that obviously like the previous experience you guys have had beforehand, as well as kind of obviously I can see that you guys both share a true love for animation stuff, especially with how you guys are able to express it with the art that you're pushing forward and whatnot. It's good to know that that really blended together to create again this incredible studio you guys are calling EggBug. If you were to describe it for people that may have never heard about EggBug, how would you? What is more or less like the vision you guys kind of have for EggBug? Like, what do you hope to push forward with EggBug?
Maybe we have
Make
different
enough money for
visions.
us to live.
That's
No,
okay.
sorry, I didn't mean
That's
that.
that's a
yeah,
good
no,
start.
I
That's
think
a good start.
Yeah, I think it's have fun with it because I think
Yeah.
you can really tell when people have fun with that art and then become billionaires. That's the goal, hopefully one day. Not actually, but it would be nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's fine. Yeah, we'll be buying small countries soon. It's all within like the 3 year like economic plan we have. It's all good.
as long as you guys can get me like a little private plot to where I can have like a nice little hut out in the middle of one of these countries, like I'll be perfect.
Oh, yeah.
I won't say a word to
Yeah,
any
of course. Yeah.
No, I mean, I can certainly tell at the very least you guys are really having fun with this kind of stuff, especially with kind of one of the early characters or early props that are more or less being pushed out there and people seemingly love and cannot get enough of. And that's this wonderful little idea that you guys have developed called CatBirdDog. Now, for people that may have no idea what in the world I'm even talking about in the first place, what is CatBirdDog other than just three random animals?
Do you want to give the
you
brief
go.
explanation? Okay, I will give it my best. So, Cat Bird Dog is about three characters who surprisingly are named Cat, Bird, and Dog.
No.
And one would be shocked to believe, but they are these funny little guys who just kind of live their life in a pretty modern kind of metropolitan setting and try to figure out the difficulties and hurdles of kind of interpersonal relationships, and all of them are just like I think as long as we've been doing art together for fun and stuff, we've always had a very easy time riffing ideas of like characters and their relationships off each other.
Right.
I remember one particular time where we had like a whole evening where we were just like plotting out, you know, the interpersonal relationship of the Sonic characters, like that kind of, and I mean, not to say that that's the origin of CatBirdDog, because, you know, once that's set in stone, it's done. But that is like the type of thing that we enjoyed doing anyway. So I think it was just, we just kind of wanted to make something cool, and that was how it ended up.
That's honestly, that it sounds really cool to hear how you got to that point, but it does lead to a very interesting question right off the bat. What is the interpersonal relationship between Sonic and Eggman? Because that's what everyone's asking at this point.
I think Eggman hates him, but he only hates him because he reminds him of the parts of himself he doesn't like. Oh. So it's kind of like this thing where he sees Sonic as like, if I can kill Sonic, I can kill the little Eggman that's inside me that is deeply unhappy with himself. But he doesn't realize how self-destructive that is. That's my answer.
That's a lot deeper than I anticipated. I'm not gonna lie.
Also, he just hates that blue hedgehog so fucking much.
Yeah,
he just hates them.
That's extremely valid. I would say, Bella, when it comes to at least the CatBirdDog discussion, I know if there's anything that you wanted to add to that when it comes to what Leah presented when it comes to the characters and their relationship and such.
No, I mean, I think it is, because a big shout out to Josh as well. So Josh is our finance manager, but he also helps us write the story a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like, Leo covered a lot of it. A lot of it is just all of us sharing our ideas about where and how we think these characters would interact, this cat, this bird, and this dog. This story that I think we find most funny about it is how we came up with it as well.
That was going to be my next question. How exactly did this idea come to be?
There is such a funny specific story that is so stupid. Do you want to give it?
Yeah, we were all sitting having a good time with some friends, some drinks, and we were watching Skibidi Toilet for the second time in around a week. And
the entirety of it, by the way, like the
entire thing,
like
2 hours plus.
Time out. That sentence alone has a lot to unpack to it. Sitting around with friends, watching Skibidi Toilet, but watching it for the second time all the way through. You guys have a lot of free time on your hand, don't you?
Oh, we did. We
really did. I think we were all on like a big, like, I don't know if it was like a holiday. There was some reason why we were all just in the house. And our friend Sam, who, shout out Sam, he came and he was just like, guys, you need to watch Skibidi Toilet. Like, you've got to. It's absolutely. I promise you. I know this sounds insane. We're not watching Skibidi Toilet, Sam. Shut up. But then he was just like, no, trust me. And we watched it and we were like, damn, that wasn't actually that bad. I kind of enjoyed that. That was pretty good.
And then after I think midway through the second viewing, Leo turns around to me, looks me dead in the face, and goes, "We could do this. We should do something like this. This is what we should be doing." And we were like, "Oh no, like, you're crazy."
I was laughed at. They called me a crazy.
We all laughed, yeah. But then what happened is that we kind of ruminated on it, and we were just like, no, actually, I think creating something for the internet, which is why we kind of do a reel and 2 comics, the structure that we do. And it turned into Leo making some concepts for comic ideas, and he had like a clown guy, he had a magician, he had like a bunch of like great little guys, but he did this one sketch of a cat,
which at the time was my least favorite. I was like, I don't know about these, but yeah.
And then I saw it and I was like, hang on, no. And I gave eyelashes to the cat. I made the bird really moody, and I gave a huge nose to the dog. And I was like, there it is. I think that is what we need right now is cat, bird, and dog.
And you also drew up all the little, like, they've changed a lot now, but like the initial relationship chart almost to like, this is this character's relationship with this character, and this is why they like them, but they don't like them, and it's like this whole thing that we then riffed off. And then after I think a planning of a good few of them, that was when Josh came on, and I think he's been really useful as well, and kind of, because we're both very like kind of ADHD energy, and he's a little more able to, I think, it's a good processing unit, I think, for both of us, and I think it helps kind of unify the whole thing, and and it's just kind of gone from there.
That is a very interesting origin story, but it's a good origin story regardless. I will say it's funny that yeah, the thought was you watch Skibidi Toilet, it's like we could do this because technically wasn't there at least a rumor or something that like Michael Bay was gonna make like a Skibidi Toilet movie in series? Like
that I didn't know about that. That's insane.
There was like some sort of
I would
rumor,
watch it.
there was like some sort of rumor, something like that. I'm just saying, like if you guys put yourselves in Michael Bay, be like, look, we heard this, we have an idea.
Michael Bay does CatBirdDog. That would be insane. That would be crazy.
I don't even know what that would look like, but I would love to see. I've almost in my head before imagined like when you're like out of control thinking or fantasizing, like, oh, what if it like became big enough that it got a movie? And then I start thinking about like, what if it was big enough that it was in all of these different director styles? Like, what if it is Michael Bay CatBirdDog or like Tim Burton CatBirdDog? And we'll never know, but I just want to know what they will look like, you know?
Yeah.
I personally think the ideal one would be a Wes Anderson led one, but that's just me personally.
I get that. No, I get that completely.
love
I was
that.
thinking, oh, what's he's so famous for the one person who directed Scott Pilgrim.
Edgar Wright. Or
Edgar Wright,
yep.
yeah. Oh, actually, because I meant to say this earlier, I completely forgot about it. In terms of things that inspired me to do creative stuff, Scott Pilgrim is a huge one. Massive influence.
I mean,
I think I remember distinctly the feeling of reading that and being like, I want to do this. I want to make things right now.
I mean, especially with like not only the original book series, but especially how it got translated to the film and then to the animated series like not too long ago. Like, absolutely nailed the vibe every single time. But obviously, back to CatBirdDog again. Like I said, very interesting origin story, but a good origin story regardless. Especially seeing the story you guys have been able to tell with this kind of, you know, the personal relationship between these three characters and like the complicated feelings within each other more than anything else. I did not know what to expect going into it, especially whenever, you know, George told me about this kind of stuff. But like whenever I saw like the first panels or whatnot and seeing kind of their relationship and how complicated it got almost right off the bat, like I was hooked, line, and sinker because I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. Shout out to Josh, but shout out to you guys as well. You guys are doing a fantastic job really telling this kind of story. Like, it does leave me curious, especially for one like this that involves like a lot of complicated emotions when it comes to love and, you know, what the line and the barrier is for relationships and whatnot. Why was it important for you guys to tell this story first when it comes to these characters?
It's a good question. Do you have an answer that comes to mind immediately?
I don't know if there was anything specifically that we wanted to explore first. I think it was I think each of we were actually talking about this earlier, and we said that each of the characters has a little piece of us in them. I get asked all the time whether I'm cat or bird, I guess because they're female presenting and I'm also female presenting. And I'm just like, I'm neither. They're very much their own entities outside of us that we're just like, what would they do? What would they do in this scenario? How would they react? And they're very much separate to us. And I think that's what makes them so fun to write. It is kind of like acting almost when we're talking and riffing off each other. We have a great time writing it. Yeah.
Well, because ultimately neither of us or none of us are like, we aren't people who are trained writers. We can't, you know, plotting something is a different skill from like writing a character, weirdly, I think, if that makes sense. And I think we can do the character part really easily. So that's what we focus on, because that's the bit that we enjoy the most and can, like, you know, think of all these funny, weird little interpersonal scenarios and like then the serious emotions behind them and where they come from and like, oh, why does that character feel that way? Well, when they were a kid, this happened. And like that's the kind of line of logic we try and follow.
I mean, I certainly agree with the character line. You guys certainly have done a good job really presenting characters in the first place, looking not just with, you know, CatBirdDog, but also like some of the other characters that you've been able to tease and show with when it comes to, you know, your Instagram or your website or whatnot. I know one of the more recent ones that I was really amazed with was like the dolphin bubble girl or whatnot that you guys did a little mini teaser animation for. Like, I certainly want to see more of that character as well. But like, especially with what you've been able to present with this story, like, it's not only impressive, like the it's not only impressive kind of the emotion that you're putting behind it, but like how relatable of a story it is, especially for a lot of people. Because I imagine, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if you guys ever had that kind of, emotions or that kind of situations or whatnot, but like especially with kind of more or less trying to understand more about yourself and like what exactly you love, what exactly you appreciate, like that's never an easy story to really tell. It's never really an easy thing for a person to come to on their own terms. I know for me recently it was, I recently came to terms that I was actually pansexual myself, so it was a bit of a weird road for me to get to that point, but it was never any, it was it was a lot easier getting on the other end. So to kind of tell what you guys have been telling right off the bat, like it must be really interesting for you guys to as you guys go along, tell this kind of story in a way that it doesn't seem like, over dramatic. It's not like, you're watching a soap opera. It's like, no, like, no, it's for a concept that features a lot of animals. It's very human and it's very grounded.
I think it's funny that you mentioned the soap opera thing, because I think that's something we actively kind of wanted to avoid a little bit and do try to, where it's like you don't want to manufacture drama just to make something dramatic, because then that isn't, at least in my mind, that doesn't feel real, because it's like that's not the character doing what they would do. Right. That's me, the writer, coming in and telling the character to do this because I know it's going to boost engagement or whatever. Not to say you can't do that at all, but like I think avoiding it generally is a good rule of thumb.
Yeah,
absolutely. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, Bella, or not, or.
No, that's absolutely perfect. I mean, it's Miyazaki, I think, says that in his films he often has like these really crazy moments and then a lot of peace and then a really crazy and that's kind of the balance that we try to get to make it feel more like real life, because it's always a temptation, because when Cat and Bird had, like, the spoilers in case anyone hasn't read it, but when they have their moment together where they're confessing, or Bird is confessing her feelings, afterwards it kind of calms down, but during that time the engagement was so high that you're like, oh, maybe everyone just falls in love with everyone, and it's this crazy little thing, but you can't bring yourself to do it, because they wouldn't. The Cat, Bird, and Dog would not do that.
It would be a disservice to the characters. No, you're completely right.
It's one thing to course correct, or it's one thing to change the story if you think it's a benefit for the story, but it's another thing to change the story if you think that it's what everyone wanted, because just because they want it doesn't necessarily mean that's the best way to tell that story. I mean, obviously you want to give people something they're going to love and enjoy, but like if it's just always what they want, at the end of the day they're just going to be like, well, do we really want this? Like,
Yeah, I think we actually get that question. I've had it a few times where people ask whether the comments that people make affect the storyline, and overall, not really, because we plan it so far in advance as well. But also just because we already kind of know where it's gonna go. Yeah. Maybe. Actually, we don't know the ending yet. I don't even know how to say that.
We know a substantial amount. That's all we need to say. We know. I'd say we've got a good amount planned, but as with all things, I think if you get too stuck in with like this is what's going to happen, then it gets a bit. You can end up kind of shooting yourself in the foot, I think.
Again, they're their own guys. They're their own people. We don't control them.
It's like you guys probably have like a general idea of like the roadmap itself and like where the destination probably is going to be, but it's not like there isn't going to be a few pit stops and a few side attractions that you guys are going to be exploring along the way.
And it so often happens that one of us like thinks of an idea where it's like, oh, that's really good, maybe we're going to change that around now, because it's like you don't want to get so attached to an idea that you start like tunnel visioning. That's not a word. Tunnel visioning.
So I'm gonna make tunnel visioning a thing now.
Oh no! I have that on a t-shirt.
There you go. Absolutely wonderful. It does lead me to also wonder, like, especially when it comes to like the characters and whatnot. Like, I'm interested to see what you guys are going to be doing from this point forward, especially with an element that we've kind of been teased about but really haven't been introduced yet. I'm wondering what this like weird wizard character that's kind of more or less mentioned in the background is supposed to be, and how they're gonna like come in and be a wrecking ball to the story.
Okay, what I will say, I don't know how much I can say, but what I will say is there's a couple thing or like one thing really that we discussed before coming on this. Like, should we talk about that? And the wizard, whoever he is, or she, or um, they are not. Something's gonna happen,
Yeah, something's gonna happen.
but it could be anything. So that's we're excited to push the story the way that we want it to go. But like, who knows what that is?
Yeah.
I mean, we do. But...
I think it.
You go ahead, Bella.
Well, I think it depends when this is going to be released because
yeah, true.
I think
Actually,
that is.
I will say the goal is to release this around December 5th. That's at least.
Okay.
So
in that case,
then,
yeah.
People may know what's going to happen, but overall, we're cooking up some fun stuff, some fun little things that we hope people like. Hopefully,
I mean, given what you guys have been able to present so far and the reception that you guys have already had with this kind of stuff, like I kind of mentioned before, the fact that you guys have over 100,000 people like on your Instagram, like consuming this media, it's impressive to see kind of the what you guys have been able to present so far. Like, I can only imagine how surprising it is for you guys seeing the love that the story has already gotten so far.
No,
it's insane.
Actually crazy.
Yeah. We didn't really, not at all, actually, even slightly expect it, and we are so grateful. It's such a little gift.
It's
We're
unbelievable.
Like, oh, thank you.
It's insane because, like, I think as an artist, you always want something to matter that much to other people. So when it happens, it's kind of you're like, oh my god, I didn't think this would actually happen. That's shit. But I think you just kind of got to enjoy it because, like, who knows? Maybe this new arc, people hate it and they're like, actually, this is a complete change up and we despise it and we're not going to read it anymore. But I think the important thing about art in general is just like you make it because you want to make it, and that's kind of it at the end of the day. And regardless of whether it's popular or not, that is the kind of philosophy we try to keep to as much as we can. And it's obviously an amazing opportunity and gift to have that many people care about it, and every piece of fan art we receive is just unbelievably great to look at. It warms our heart. Yeah, really.
We post it on our little Discord chat and we're like, oh my god, look at this. Their time and their effort into making something for us because they like our characters so yippee, like that's amazing.
Trust me, I am always a fan I am always a person that's always going to be a fan of fan art at the end of the day, because it's like you're creating something that touched them so much that they wanted to go forth and have their own little interpretation or have their little fun with it. I can only imagine, and like you're saying, like it has to be heartwarming at the end of the day, knowing how much of an impact the story has already had on people, considering the fact how much you've been able to tell so far.
It really does. It's insane.
Yeah, it's nice to we get a few comments where people are they're like, this really resonated with me. I think we've had a few, I don't know how true they are, and I don't want to call them liars, but some people are like, I'm sobbing and crying and dying at this, and it's like, oh my, I'm glad
the people who are like, the ones that get me are the ones where it's like, thanks for making this like, this really helped me in this way in my life, and it's like, that's a ridiculous thing to hear. That's an insane thing to hear, because it's like, that's connecting with people is half the reason we make art. So
I mean, I can tell you from a personal experience, at least for me, like although I can't resonate with some of the specifics of the story because cisgender white male right here, but at the very least, like the emotions of it, and like how certain people feel, especially whenever they have one mindset but it ends up being another thing. Like I resonate with the story so much. I've been mentally in situations similar to that, and I mean, obviously at the end of the day I'm still here, but like obviously, like I can see how for some people they may have gotten something that's obviously a little bit more connecting with some of them and how much it resonates with them. So I can easily see, again, it's a credit to you guys as not just with the incredible art you're putting out there, but the incredible storytelling you've been able to put with, again, making a really human, really grounded, story that stars a cat, a bird, and a dog. Like, I don't know how else to describe it at this point.
Thank you so much. That's very kind. It's always really sweet when we hear stuff like that. It's always really lovely, really humbling for our egos.
yeah, because it's also like it's humbling in the way where it's like when you realize or remember that there's real people reading it who like care about it to even a degree where it's like, oh my god, that's like I can't take this for granted, you know, in a way.
We're so thankful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It does also lead me to wonder, though, at this point, with how much you guys have been able to push out there, you guys have to have like at least a personal favorite panel or a personal favorite moment so far. Like, is there a personal favorite for you guys so far with this story?
Personal favorite? I have an answer for this immediately, actually. Personal favorite is one that it was completely Bella. It was the one where when they're on the bench, the art for that's like one of my favorite moments, I think. And then in terms of the ones that I've more done, it would be the one where Bird's on the window when she's smoking and she's looking out and you can see what looks like maybe a wizard silhouette on the horizon.
Maybe a wizard, who knows?
Maybe a wizard, who knows?
I don't, surely. I think my favorite is the there's like this one reel where it's Bird and she's it's after the confession, she's in her head a lot and she's getting the train back home and she sees her mum on the platform. That's my personal favorite because I have so many moments where I'm just like, all right, that's it, I'm going back home, I can't drive, so I get the train. My mum meets me there and she drives me home. And I really felt like I was putting that into that. I also really love the song. I can't remember the song name, but it says I'm going back to Chicago. I like that, so that's probably why as well.
Going back to Chicago.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the one.
He also has other bangers, but that one's my favorite. So.
It's obviously a banger for a reason. That's why it became more or less a thing on TikTok and social media and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
I will say for me personally, I personally just love the moment where Bird and her mom are in the car, like after the little bowling thing, and she just boards, oh mom, I love women, okay? Like that and the little interaction afterwards of like the mom just being super chill about it. It's just like it's I related to Bird so much, and that euphoria afterwards is just that like wow, okay, so you're not okay, that I also thank you. Like that emotion got to me.
Yeah, that was I think it was really the connection between Bud and her mum is really important to us, but maybe the reason why that one isn't my favorite is because drawing the inside of a car is
that's valid.
It's awful. And trying to fit their two humongous bird heads in a vertical real format is also, no one told me that was going to be that hard.
I think in retrospect there are aspects of the character designs that have not like worked in our favor in terms of framing, but that's also they're big round guys, big round head boys, all of them.
I mean at the very least it's very aesthetically pleasing. I mean, look at the wonderful hoodie that Bella is wearing right now with the wonderful designs on there.
I mean I had to shout out to our merch. This is
which will be out soon as well, actually.
Yeah, it's coming out next week, which we're very if
that's the case, like I said, by the time this episode comes out or whatnot, it'll be out there. So people definitely go to the description, get some of the incredible merch such as that, because it looks absolutely sensational. I'm going to be getting something from that merch shop. So
please. Thank you so much.
No, absolutely. I love what you guys are doing, not just with, CatBirdDog, because I can only imagine what you guys are, with what you've already been able to tell so far. I can only imagine how much more you guys are going to be able to tell and how exciting it's going to be to finally see that story unfold at the end of the day. But, like, it's not like you guys are putting all your eggs in one basket when it comes to CatBirdDog. You have several characters that you've been able to present in one form or fashion in one way or another. I was going to say, I know when I was looking at the website, it said that Bella, you seem to be a person that knows how to make more characters than knowing what to do with them at the end of the day.
I
can only imagine
Bella
what
is the single. Bella is an immensely talented artist, but even above that, they are the fastest artist I've ever met, full stop. They draw things at an insane speed. They end up doing, I think, a good portion of the art on CatBirdDog just because they are like And it's unbelievably useful in a selfish and unselfish way for EggBug for sure.
I mean, I can only
Oh, thank
imagine.
you.
I can only imagine, especially with all the different characters you've had in mind. There's got to be at least a good couple of stories you guys are ready to tell with some of the characters you may have just like drawn on a whim or whatnot.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah,
We definitely want to. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a few. It's not putting all of our eggs in one basket in terms of CatBirdDog, and we would
Yeah.
love for EggBug to be doing other stories on the side. But the other stuff, I think it's more animation and client facing,
Right.
so that we can pay our bills.
Absolutely.
But hopefully in the future, we are able to explore all of that.
Yeah, the part that is less seen is on the like EggBug after dark, I was going to say, but that's not really the right connotation behind that. But the EggBug, the other side of EggBug is like doing motion graphics projects and like
It's EggBug with a tie and a briefcase.
It's EggBug in a tie, and he's like walking to work, and everything's grey, and he's like, "Dear God." But that
we love it really.
Yeah, to be clear, we do actually like doing that stuff. It's just
yeah.
that is like a different creative endeavor than like making a comic with characters that we're making because these are characters we want to make, rather than we're making this for a client who wants something done a specific way because that's what they're paying for, and that's very fair.
Oh no, absolutely. There's obviously the EggBug, the studio where you guys get the fun and draw the wonderful CatBirdDog and such, and then there's EggBug Incorporated, taking care of the business aspect more or less.
Yeah.
I mean, that's extremely valid, but I can only imagine with some of the characters that you may have teased here and there must be at least one story that you guys are like, when given the opportunity, you guys gotta be excited to really talk about that stuff. I know I kind of mentioned the little dolphin girl or whatnot. I don't know if that's one that you guys are more ready.
I would say, yeah, that the magical girl. We've had an idea for like a magical girl thing for ages. More of a something Bella's been kind of conceptualizing for a while, I think, but that's the big other one, I think, at the moment. We've kind of had a few brainstorming sessions, but I think we're all kind of in agreement that for now it's CatBirdDog mainly, and then once we are more secure just generally, we can kind of branch out to other things, and like have maybe another comic that we want to do.
Yeah, because we didn't realize how obviously the success of CatBirdDog is unprecedented, so we weren't really like prepared for it at all, and we weren't even aware that we were able to make revenue off something like this. But then hopefully in the future we'll hopefully be able to do something again. The Magical Girl one, there isn't really much of a story with that. I think they're just really cool designs, which sounds like I'm boosting my own ego, but we did work on some of them together. But I think Magical Girls we both really like the concept of. So
yeah, both big fans. Yeah, I mean, like I said, one of my first anime was called Captain Sakura, so I've got that deep in my DNA somewhere.
In your crevices.
I phrased a few things this whole podcast inappropriately.
I think we both have.
And I would like to the record to show that I regret my actions formally.
Oh, don't regret it. It's a podcast, all right? And I will say, Belle,
I'd do it again, actually.
There you go. Good.
Yeah.
Never regret it. But I will say, Belle, to your point, you don't have to boost your own ego. I could do it for you because the characters I do have been able to push out there, especially with like that magical girl design or whatnot. Again, it's really impressive. I really love. I've said it a million times already, and I will say it a million times again. I really love kind of the art style that you guys push out there, like the range of it more than anything else, and especially like the character designs you've been able to showcase. Like obviously, you look at CatBirdDog, and it's more or less like a very more simple, but also like very fun design to look at. But then you get like the magical girl designs, or like some of the walking styles that you talked about. Because I remember seeing the little reel showcasing like the different ones or whatnot. Like the diversity you guys have with some of these character designs it's a really good thing to especially strive for, and seeing how you've been able to push that out there and lead to what could potentially be so many like wide-ranging ideas that some people can see the studio behind them. They'd be like, oh my god, I didn't realize they could do that kind of stuff. That's gonna be really interesting to see the more you guys get to do with EggBug and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's one of the joys of collaborating together, because I think I think a lot of what ties our styles together is almost an anime-esque look, and it's really what works on a project to project basis. So like Midnight of Violet, it had to be quite anime because he wanted it quite anime, and we can do that. Whereas CatBirdDog, they were designed almost to cut a lot of corners. We didn't have to draw hands,
right?
Yeah,
which was good. There wasn't any complex stuff. Yeah.
I was just going to say, it's like efficiency was the first thing in mind with CatBirdDog, and looking good, but efficiency first.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's an amalgamation of both of our styles as well, which is really fun. But yeah, thank you for that. That was really lovely to hear.
Absolutely. Like it does lead me to the question as well as like obviously you guys have been able to accomplish a lot when it comes to EggBug as is. What do you hope to accomplish the more you guys continue to do more with the studio? Like I can only imagine, you know, if given the opportunity, whether it be on a corporate stance or on a personal stance, like the opportunities, how easily you guys can knock it out of the park.
Oh, that's a good question.
The first thing that comes to mind is just $1 billion.
Yeah, it's no. Actually, what I'm imagining is me in a money pit, like Scrooge McDuck style, and there's also CatBirdDog plushies everywhere, and I'm the emperor of the world.
Yeah,
there you go.
But more seriously, probably like I think the dream it would be an animated show. That would be incredible.
Okay.
I think that would be like I think that's but you know, indie animation has generally popped off a lot recently, and I think we've always talked about the idea of like we would love to make, you know, CatBirdDog an animated thing or something like that. But not necessarily. It's like these are all just like kind of vague things that are in our head, but like that would be, for me at least, that would be something that I would love.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is that, and just creating really fun stuff and getting paid is fantastic. That's the dream, really. Yeah. At the end of the day.
Actually, actually, you're right. The dream, really, like as kind of as more boring as it sounds, I think it's like as long as we just get to keep making things and get paid enough that we can do it. I think that's kind of always been the thing that has been the goal, because I think at the end, that's why we want to make things, so we can keep
buy a house with the stuff that we love, and something like that. That would be great.
Yeah. I mean, you know, as fun as the concept is for you guys to come together and just make animations together, it's not like you guys made this endeavor just for the fun of it. Like, obviously, I mean, a lot of it is the fun, but also, like, again, we gotta pay bills at the end of the day. So, like, being able to be able to make a living off of this stuff and be able to continue to make that fun stuff while also being comfortable in whatever space you're in, that's always a good thing to achieve. That should be the goal, no matter what you do in whatever career possible, you know?
No, completely, 100%.
So if I may, for this next question, what if I take a little bit of that humbleness out a little bit? Because I want to give you guys more or less the dream scenario, if I may. Let's say I am Big Shot Mr. Moneybags. I come to you guys and I'm like, look, you guys are doing absolutely fantastic work with what you guys are able to present, whether it be on the professional level or on the personal level, seeing the stuff you guys have been able to produce. We think there is something there. We know there's something here. You just need a little extra, extra push, a little extra platform to get you to that point. We have access to everyone and anyone in whatever industry possible, and more money than should be possible. We really should be compensating the animators that are currently, trying to go on strike, and really trying to, make sure they get, health care or a pension, all that stuff to make sure they can actually live doing the thing that they love. # stand with animation. But we'll focus on them in a little bit. We promise we're going to focus on them too. We're not discarding them. Right now, we're just focused on you and you guys alone. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream EggBug project?
Oh, I think maybe animated CatBirdDog. I think it would be a series of that.
I think at this point, I think we would do CatBirdDog, and I think we would also maybe we would have to kind of extend it in bits, because I think if it was ever going to be a series, as a web comic, it functions perfectly, or maybe that's a bit egotistical to say, but it functions the way it is well. But it's as an animated show, it's like there's more time in that, really. And I think we would probably add bits as well, which would be nice, because I think there are certain areas where it's like, oh, that would have been nice to flesh out. But like realistically, when we're, like we said earlier, like efficiency with CatBirdDog was one of the main things to make it possible before making it perfect. So like we can't spend like 3 extra comics fleshing out some really tiny detail that we might want to do, because it's just reasonably we're not gonna get to the point we need to get to quick enough. And in an animated show, that's not as much a problem, I think. So I think that would be really nice in it as well. And also we just love animation. So
there you go.
Yeah.
I would say, Bill, is there anything you want to add to that as well, or?
No, I mean, that is exactly it. There are so many fun little pieces that we do at certain points have to cut out, just because otherwise they'll be like 12 panels long, and really we try and keep them between like 4 to 10 at the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 10 is like the most.
Yeah, and so that it is. I think Leo says this. I don't know if I should say this on the podcast, but it's the concept of like killing your babies, where you have something that you really phrase. Love, and you have to cut it out because you just don't have the budget all the time. And I think with an animated show, it'd be fleshed out.
I would have said the more friendly phrase was, "We're just taking the babies up to a nice little farm upstate, you know."
Farm upstate, yeah.
Sometimes you've got to take your babies to a farm upstate. It's the only way you can make it in this industry.
It's the only way.
Yeah.
There you go. But sadly, we gotta get down from the dream scenario. We gotta get back to reality, and I'll ask the ever so generic question: where do you guys hope to see yourselves in, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
Scrooge McDuck Money Pit is still the answer.
Yeah,
no, I think just living my life, living in a nice little place with my partner, being able to work on EggBug, and hopefully we're making enough to live off well. That would be it. Like, that's really all it is for me, I think. Yeah. Hopefully moving to Bristol as well. It's something that I've been in the cards for me for a while, because that would make working a lot easier as well. But yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that is kind of the goal for most 25-year-olds in this era, is just being comfortable with money, being comfortable with a work-life balance, and being just hanging out with the people that you love. That's the goal at the end of the day.
Well,
that's the dream.
That certainly is the dream. Just that nice little good comfort, like I said, with what you guys hope to envision with EggBug, just like that good comfort level where you guys get to continue to make the stuff that you want to and earn a good living off of it. I mean, that's if that's all that you want to achieve, who are we to argue? You guys are doing a great job with what you've been able to present so far. Let's more of that. That's all we can ask. As we start to wind down the interview, I just have one last question I want to ask you guys. Obviously, you both are deeply entrenched in art in one form or fashion at this point. How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
Oh, so important. I think especially for, I mean, excuse the phrase, Leo, but for dweebs like us, it's so important to have art. It honestly, like, you hear all the time, it like saves your life. As a teenager, it was everything. And now it still is everything. So, yeah.
Pretty much agree. I think with art, it's for me personally as well. Like Bella said, it's extremely important. One of the most important things. Obviously, if you're if you're in government and you're like, what's the first thing we should cut? Well, arts, you don't need them. In a practical sense, you need hospitals more than you do art galleries, right?
Right.
But at the same time, it's like art is both. It's like the most important, least important thing in a weird way. Where you're not literally saving lives or intrinsically by doing it. Like, art can save lives, obviously, but it's not. It's an easy thing to think of as not useful, but I think it's more important than people imagine it is. It's an underrated form of usefulness, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think those are both wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself. Bella, Leo, that's all the questions that I have for you guys. I've already showered you guys with Lord knows how many praises, but I will show you a little bit more because it's my podcast. I do what I want. Like I said,
I won't say no, honestly.
Oh, I appreciate that. But like I kind of more or less illustrated from the start, ever since I first got introduced to you guys, I have just been absolutely wowed and amazed with what you guys have been able to present. Like, I could gush for a whole nother hour or so with just how much I love the story you guys are presenting with CatBirdDog, but also seeing what you guys are presenting as well with both the personal aspect but also the professional aspect. It makes me it makes me excited to see what you guys are going to be able to accomplish, like with EggBug. And I mean, getting the chance to really talk to you guys now, seeing that love more or less on full force when it comes to this field that you guys really devote yourselves into, seeing kind of more or less the dynamic you guys have working with each other, and seeing how well that like you guys are more or less like set for whatever may happen next, you know, or unprepared. Lord knows what it is at this point. Either way, I can tell you guys are, you know, prepared or not, you guys are ready for whatever's going to be happening next. I mean, and I cannot tell you how much it makes me excited to see what next may be. Like, you guys are already doing a phenomenal job right now, and I can only hope that, you know, you guys get the chance to do more of what you got, if not a hell of a lot more. I want to see you guys get the opportunities to make your own like animated series, whether it be CatBirdDog or something else. I want to see you guys have the opportunity to present more different, you know, different styles and different projects out there into the world, and people love it just as much, if not more, than CatBirdDog. I want to see you guys succeed more than, probably more than anyone, but if not yourselves. Like, you guys, I imagine, you know, seeing what you guys are able to accomplish now and knowing where it could potentially go, I am excited for whatever's going to be happening next, and I'm going to be rooting for you guys every single step of the way. The long and the short of it is, thank you guys for what you do. Keep up the incredible work, because you guys really have something special with EggBug, and I cannot wait to see what that something special is going to be.
Thank you.
God.
That's so lovely.
Yeah,
That's
you.
really, really nice. Thank you very, very much. That's honestly lovely.
Yeah. No, that's really sweet. Sometimes you need to hear that, and that's great. We're gonna succeed just for you, actually.
Yeah, well, I'll put a picture of you up on my wall, so I'm like, do it for him.
You really want that.
Yeah.
You really want that country, don't you? That country you promised earlier.
You'll at least be in the cabinet on that country for sure. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'll at least send the photo of me dressed up as a bootleg Joker. You can put that on the wall. All right. That's why.
Yeah,
that'll be on our money. Yeah.
That thank you. I'll say I dressed up as basically like bootleg Joker for the Halloween episode that I did with Maxwell Adams, the creator of Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Because it was the Halloween episode, so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna dress up for this episode. And
honestly, so good.
But yeah, no, I only speak nothing from the truth, and I genuinely believe in what you guys are doing. So I'm excited to see what's gonna be next for you guys. Keep up the awesome work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for letting us on your very cool show. So it's been an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Look, you don't have to flatter me. We're basically at the end of the podcast, all right? You guys already made it through the entire thing. But for people that have gotten to this point and have not consumed your stuff already, have no idea what in the world we are talking about, go ahead and plug your guys' stuff for the people at home.
We are Bella and Leo. We run a studio called EggBug. We make CatBirdDog and animations, and we hope we can keep making them for as long as we can. And check out our stuff, and check out our Shopify link if you like CatBirdDog, because we have merch now.
It's shop.eggbug.com or eggbug.shop.com. You can find us on Fourth Wall. You can also find us on all social media at eggbug.studio, and you can also email us if you want to at hello@eggbug.com.
Yeah,
and if you guys missed any links or said any links wrong, I'll be sure to have the correct ones in the description below.
Thank you very much.
That'd be embarrassing.
Well, I was gonna say, Bella, like you got on to him, but I think you said EggBug Dog or something like that as like the social media links or something like that.
EggBug, you'll find us. I don't think anyone else has taken EggBug, so we'll be there hopefully.
Like I said, I'll be sure to have the proper links down in the description, so it's easy for the people to find your guys' stuff and love it as much, if not more, than I have been since I've really got the chance to see your guys' stuff. Do you guys have any final words before we sign off?
I don't know. Everyone, hope you have a wonderful day. That's me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. And it's been a really good time. Yep. Yeah, subscribe to this channel as well that we're on as well. And thank you so much for having us. And
maybe if you do one day, you can also have a Scrooge McDuck money pit. Not a promise, but it's a suggestion.
Okay, look, to be fair, I do have a character, like when I did the little dream scenario, I do have a Mr. Moneybags-esque character, which I have a giant banner for right here in the corner or whatnot.
Oh my god,
like, he's ready.
That's me.
He's ready made.
I'm manifesting him. I'm manifesting that I'm him. It's gonna happen. It's got to.
I'll send you guys I'll send some more photos of the guy, and I'll send you guys the links to the shirt I have of him, so you can really manifest him on my merch shop. But with that, all I've left to say is, for the people at home, if you can, please pay your artists.
That would be nice.
Please.
We would all appreciate that. That would be rather good.